Sup dudes, it's Snail. This is Megan. Maybe you've met her before in the last video, or maybe this is your first encounter with her. But let me tell you more about her. She's a mercenary who specializes in firearms, a perfect survivor for post-apocalyptic Boston. However, Megan has always wanted more from her life. Sure, guns are cool and the rush of combat is neat, and not to mention the jet. But what she really wants out of life is to be a bus driver. However, two problems stand in her way. One, she is a horrible jet addict, mostly as a consequence of her profession. And two, this is post-nuclear America. Every bus she comes across is torn to shreds and plundered beyond repair. Sadly, what she can't have is what she wants the most, and so she must continue a life of violence and drugs, lamenting every single broken down bus she sees along the way. But lucky for Megan, one day, the gods of this world, that's me, smiled upon her, and deep in the ghoul-infested ruins of Lexington, she found a fully functional bus, equipped with all the makings of a safe house that would be the envy of any Commonwealth survivalist. Inside, it comes equipped with a kitchenette, an armor and weapons table, a chemistry station, to make more jet with when she runs low, a functional fridge and a first aid container for all her stim packs and radaway and, well, jet too. Explosive storage, ammo boxes, and a toolbox for all of Megan's toys. Finally, a bed and a bus driver's hat. She might not be able to experience the joy of driving a bus full of screaming kids in the morning, but at least now she could pretend. To get the bus started requires fuel, and that fuel is fusion cores. Thankfully, she rated enough power plants in her day. She starts the fueling process, gets the cores loaded up, and then next is the matter of where she can go. See, this bus is equipped with a proprietary Robco navigation terminal. With the Robco navigation terminal, it's as simple as selecting the destination and telling her robot driver to go there, or doing it herself. Now, what does one do in a post-apocalypse when they just found a fully functional bus? Well, you roleplay, of course, so the first stop is DB Technical High School. Now yes, it's been 210 years since the students have roamed these halls, but there's another kind of occupant in this building, and Megan's determined to make her first day on the job as a bus driver a success. So, unfortunately, no more students to drive around, but surely there's some local Bostonians that would love a way to commute. So time to find some riders in the area. Unfortunately, these individuals weren't very interested in paying the fare, leaving Megan no choice but to pass out some hefty fines. Fair paid, bitch. With this, her first shift is finally over. She did some exploring and found a bus stop with a workshop next to it, but it was getting late. She'll explore that another day. She went back to the bus, emptied her inventory, and settled in for the night. So it's the next morning, and Megan wants to show off her bus. Problem is, Sanctuary isn't a stop on the nav console. Now yes, unfortunately, Sanctuary is home to those really annoying settlers she picked up back in Concord, but sometimes even for a jet-addicted mercenary, life does tend to get lonely out in the Commonwealth. She made the journey back, and almost immediately she realized how much land and road space there is in Sanctuary. Why, it's perfect for a bus stop. And as it turns out, the bus she found actually comes with instructions on how to build your own bus stop. She built a bus shelter, a seat, a workstation to modify her bus, and a charging station. After all, fusion cores don't grow on trees. All that was left was to designate a parking spot and call her bus over, which she was able to do with the help of the bus remote that you can craft inside the bus. When she showed it to her relatively useless friends, they loved it. Preston actually couldn't get enough of it. He kept trying to get a closer look by running directly into it. Unfortunately, it looks like the brain damage of tons of CQC that Megan has been practicing on Preston has taken its toll. Now yes, while the bus was a nice touch, in reality, Megan is a mercenary, so it does need to have some sort of combat application. So she decided to look through the bus workstation just to see what was available, and it turns out that there's a lot of customization options. You can either turn your bus into a tank lookalike, or you can give it spiked wheels to mulch up any unsuspecting raiders. There's also the option for some very neat sharpened pointies in the front, or a snowplow for the mountains of bodies that she normally leaves behind on missions. And then finally, she found functional turrets. Yes, she's taking those. She ended up finishing off the look with Transit Authority approved saw blades in the front. And just in case you're wondering, what sort of Transit Authority would approve these? Well, that would be Megan. She is the Transit Authority now. She needed a way to test the roof turrets she had just installed. As they say, God provides. And he provided her with 2 very angry Alpha Deathclaws. Sure, the range is a little wonky, and eventually one of them learned how to take cover. But it did the trick. The Deathclaws were eliminated with extreme prejudice. And finally, Megan's dream bus had become reality. All that was left for Megan was for her and the battle bus to ride off into the sunset, looking for the next fight and the next vial of jet. And remember, if you yourself would like a survivalist bus of your own, you can find it with the Nexus Mods link in the description. If you enjoy this mod, make sure you hit the endorse button. It is a very well constructed mod, and it is a game changer for anybody who enjoys survival difficulty or simply just doesn't want to mess around with settlements that much. Not all of us are master builders and civil engineers in our spare time, and I respect that. Some people just want a simple place to hang up their hat, craft weapons, make drugs, and store their grenades. The bus has no known dependencies, and it is compatible with almost anything, as it edits very little and acts as an interior world space. Now, while it looks really cool, I do want to point out a couple of notes about the bus. Due to the nature of how navigation is performed, since drivable vehicles are extremely hard to implement in Fallout 4, navigation is going to require some cross-referencing of the map on your Pip-Boy. Not all the locations are intuitively placed where you might think they would be, so make sure you check and double-check when you want to go somewhere. Second, it does use fusion cores as fuel, and as of right now, aside from solar panels on the roof, there's really no alternative. So if you don't have some way to simply give yourself fusion cores, or if you're trying not to cheat on your run, it might be a little difficult at times to find fuel. That's okay, it's part of the balance, because honestly, the Survivalist bus is so insanely useful that it does need some sort of a balancing element. The inside of the bus is a little drab, it's mostly gray, and the windows themselves are not see-through because, again, this is an interior. However, the lighting coming through the windows does change with the time of day. You can choose to either block the sunlight or keep the sunlight coming through during the daytime if you visit the bus workbench. And by the way, speaking of the bus workbench, you're going to want to visit it and go over all the options. I tried to do what I can with the footage I had to make this a little bit different from your average mod review, but overall, at the end of the day, honestly, I do recommend that you just go through the mod yourself and check it out, because there are genuinely a lot of options. The bus is extremely helpful. It's an auto-include in all of my runs now, for the simple fact that it is an incredible place to have a mobile armory, as well as just a mobile junk storage option. It's really nice to be able to park the bus wherever, go into an area, collect loot, go back to the bus, and empty it back out into the bus workshop. With the included bus stops activated in the mod, it has 50 predetermined stops that it can make, but you can expand that to an absolutely absurd 126 stops. That means you can make 76 custom stops. Keep in mind, there are only 37 settlements in all of Fallout 4, including DLC. So this means that you can probably set this up with a bus stop at any of the custom settlements that you might have, provided there's enough room for the bus marker. That being said, thank you so much for watching. I'm Snail. Subscribe if you liked the video, like the video. If you didn't like it, dislike it. Leave a comment with your thoughts down below, and I will see you next time. On the Rocket 69. On the Rocket 69. On the Rocket 69. 69 Rocket 69.